Imagine if a single wrong decision, a misunderstood order, or even a tiny accident could change the fate of millions of people. History is full of moments where one small mistake triggered massive consequences. Wars, revolutions, disasters, and even the discovery of entire continents. Today, we're going to explore some of the most unbelievable moments where tiny decisions change the course of human history forever, and some of them sound almost impossible. The assassination that started World War I. In June 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria was visiting Sarajevo. Earlier that day, a group of assassins tried to kill him using bombs and guns, but every attempt failed. One bomber threw a grenade, but it bounced off the Archduke's car and exploded behind them. The attackers believed their mission had failed, but then something strange happened. After visiting wounded soldiers in the hospital, the Archduke's driver took a wrong turn while driving through the city, and that wrong turn brought the car directly in front of one of the assassins who had already given up. His name was Gavrilo Princip. He couldn't believe his luck. Standing just a few feet away from the Archduke's car, Princip pulled out a pistol and fired 2 shots. One killed the Archduke. The other killed his wife. Those 2 bullets triggered a chain reaction of alliances across Europe. Within weeks, World War I began, a conflict that would kill more than 16 million people and reshape the world forever, all because of one wrong turn, the nuclear war that almost happened, because of the sun. During the Cold War in 1983, tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were extremely high. Both sides had thousands of nuclear weapons ready to launch within minutes. One night, a Soviet early warning satellite system suddenly detected something terrifying. The computers reported that 5 nuclear missiles had been launched from the United States toward the Soviet Union. According to Soviet protocol, this meant one thing: they should immediately launch their own nuclear strike in retaliation. But the officer on duty, Stanislav Petrov, hesitated. The computer system insisted the attack was real, but something didn't feel right. Petrov made a risky decision and reported the alarm as a false warning, even though he could have been punished for ignoring it. And he was right. The satellites had mistaken sunlight reflecting off clouds for missile launches. If Petrov had trusted the computers instead of his instincts, the Soviet Union might have launched nuclear weapons, and the world could have entered World War III, the mistake that created penicillin. In 1928, scientist Alexander Fleming returned to his laboratory after a vacation. When he looked at his petri dishes, he noticed something unusual. One of them had been contaminated by mold. Normally, this would be considered a failure, and most scientists would simply throw it away. But Fleming noticed something strange. The bacteria around the mold had completely disappeared. The mold was killing the bacteria. That accidental discovery led to the creation of penicillin, the first true antibiotic. Before antibiotics, even small infections could easily kill people. Penicillin alone is estimated to have saved hundreds of millions of lives, all because a scientist forgot to clean his lab properly. The war that started because of a wooden bucket. In medieval Italy, the cities of Bologna and Modena were bitter rivals. One day in 1325, soldiers from Modena sneaked into Bologna and stole something strange. Not gold, not weapons, a wooden bucket from a public well. Bologna demanded the bucket back. Modena refused. What happened next was ridiculous and deadly. The argument escalated into a full military conflict known as the War of the Bucket. Around 30,000 soldiers fought in battles over this stolen object. Thousands died. And to this day, the bucket is still kept in Modena as a strange trophy of victory. The typo that crashed a spacecraft. In 1962, NASA launched the Mariner 1 spacecraft, a mission designed to fly past Venus. Everything looked perfect during launch, but only minutes after liftoff, the rocket began drifting off course. Engineers realized something had gone terribly wrong. To prevent the spacecraft from crashing somewhere dangerous, they were forced to destroy it mid-flight. Later, investigators discovered the cause: a tiny missing hyphen in the guidance computer code. That one small typo caused the spacecraft to miscalculate its trajectory. The mission failed completely. The mistake cost millions of dollars. The prison escape that created a nation. In 1917, Russia was in chaos during the Russian Revolution. One man, Vladimir Lenin, had been living in exile in Switzerland. Germany, which was fighting Russia in World War I, saw an opportunity. They secretly allowed Lenin to travel through Germany in a sealed train and return to Russia. Their plan was simple. Lenin might destabilize Russia and weaken their enemy, but the consequences were much bigger. Once Lenin arrived in Russia, he helped lead the Bolshevik Revolution, overthrowing the government and creating the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union would go on to become one of the most powerful powerful countries in the world for the next 70 years. Germany thought they were helping themselves. Instead, they accidentally helped create one of their future greatest rivals. The spacecraft lost because of unit confusion. In 1999, NASA launched the Mars Climate Orbiter, a spacecraft meant to study Mars's atmosphere. Everything seemed fine until the spacecraft approached the planet. Suddenly, communication was lost. The spacecraft had either burned up in the atmosphere or flown off into space. The reason? A simple unit conversion mistake. One engineering team used metric units, another used imperial units. The mismatch caused the spacecraft to enter Mars's atmosphere at the wrong altitude. The mission failed instantly. The mistake cost NASA over $300 million. Final thought. History often makes it seem like massive events are caused by powerful leaders, huge armies, or complicated political decisions. But sometimes the fate of nations is shaped by a wrong turn, a typo, a stolen bucket, or even sunlight reflecting off clouds. Tiny moments, tiny mistakes, but consequences that echo across centuries, because sometimes the smallest decisions create the biggest changes in human history.